Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Port Royal's April 10th, 2024 council meeting. The time is now 6:30. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. At this time, I will ask Mayor Pro Tem Hayward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And this time I'll ask Councilman Owens to lead us in the invocation.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity as we assemble before you to conduct the business of our town and those at whom we serve. We thank you for those that are present and those that we serve and those that are absent in body on today, that the business that will be conducted on tonight will be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay. Up next, approval of minutes. I've got 3 sets of minutes. The minutes from public hearing of March 6, 2024, minutes from the council workshop of March 6, 2024, and the minutes from the council meeting March 13th, 2024. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
So move that we approve the minutes from the public hearing of March 6th, the council workshop on March 6th, and the council meeting on March 13th.
Second.
All right, any changes or corrections?
None noted.
Okay. All those in favor of them approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Up next, we have a proclamation. So 2024 Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. We have an amazing organization. There are a bunch locally, but one also, especially right here in Port Royal, CAPA. We're also honoring Hopeful Horizons. Tonight we have 2 representatives, Andrea Chandler and Tom Face. If you'd like to come up, please. And we've got a proclamation here. I'm going to read into the record in just a second, but all right, hey, how are you doing? If you just want to introduce yourselves, tell everybody about the organization.
Hello, everyone. I am Andrea Chandler. I am the Director of Residential Services at CAPA Open Arms Children's Home. I'm grateful to be here, and this is an awesome evening, and I thank you all for supporting and honoring the that is Child Abuse Prevention.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Tom Foss. I am the Vice Chair of Hopeful Horizons, which is based in 5 counties, and we support domestic violence, victims of domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault. Every year we probably deal with 1,200 individuals, and we provide a variety of services to along those lines. So I just wanted to, as you said, I want to thank everybody for helping us raise awareness for the very important causes.
So, really quick, and I'll read this into the record, and then we'll come down there and take a picture and present these to you, okay? So we got Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas South Carolina's future prosperity is dependent on nurturing the healthy development of the 1.1 million children currently residing in the diverse communities across our state, and whereas all children deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development, and whereas in fiscal year 2023, there were 8,304 children and sustained investigations of child maltreatment in South Carolina, and whereas in fiscal year 2023, Child Abuse Prevention Association, CAPA, housed 96 children, and Hopeful Horizons conducted 404 forensic interviews for cases of alleged child abuse and neglect, whereas child abuse is a public health issue with serious societal consequences, as data shows the link between the abuse and neglect of children and a wide range of costly medical, emotional, psychological, and behavioral problems into adulthood, and whereas preventing child abuse and neglect must be a priority that requires individuals, families, youth-serving organizations, faith-based groups, businesses, government agencies, and everyone that makes up our community to support the physical, emotional, and educational development of all children and their families, and whereas effective child abuse prevention exists in communities that provide parents with the social support, knowledge of parenting, and child development and concrete resources they need to cope with the stress and nurture their children, help to ensure that all children can grow to their full potential. And now therefore be it resolved, the town of Port Royal, in conjunction with Hopeful Horizons, Child Abuse Prevention Association, SCAPA, and support service programs around the state, designate the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month, while urging all citizens to dedicate themselves to protect quality of life for every child.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, and just to say, I don't know if anybody keeps up with Kappa, but they just had their Dancing with Our Stars. It was a blowout. They raised $500,000 in one night of fundraising. It's pretty amazing. So
It'd be amazing to see this one.
my wife did it. It's a lot of work. My wife did it 2 years ago. It was amazing. So next up, we have public comment, and these will be for agenda items. We've got a few to go through here in no particular order. I'm just going off what I've got here. Ms. Claude Hicks. Yes, sir. Mr. Hicks, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. My name is Claude Hicks. I am a resident of Port Royal, but I'm here tonight in my new capacity as the executive director of the Beaufort Jasper Housing Trust.
That's not on the agenda.
I'm here tonight to talk about your consideration of 2024-9, moratorium on multifamily housing. I'm here to ask that you consider the exemption of workforce housing and affordable housing in that ordinance. It takes between 5 to 7 years for any affordable housing to be developed, from the time it is an idea until the time it is fully funded and ready to go into construction. We ask that you include that exemption in your moratorium. Obviously, the need is there. The need is everywhere. I understand trying to keep up with the infrastructure, trying to keep up with the issues relative to building and construction, but I would ask that you consider this exemption. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next.
Hi, I'm Wendy Zara, and I would like to speak to two things that are on the agenda. The first one is short-term rental moratorium. I think most of you know I was on the task force 4.5 years ago, and we came up with the draft ordinance, and it never really even got a hearing. And I still have a copy of it if you need it. I think in the last year, it's pretty obvious that we really need to do something about all the problems with short-term rentals. One of which is it takes away from affordable housing stuff. The second thing I would like to talk about is the moratorium on apartment buildings. Please allow affordable housing, and we can define that, to still go forward. I know in Mount Pleasant, they have an exception for affordable housing. They don't have any affordable housing, but they do have an exception for it. And the lead time on that kind of development is really long. So if you do not include it as an exception now, you're talking 10 years before you get it, instead of 5. And I also want to mention, I know this is our new executive director, Claude. As you know, Dana was our interim. He is our first official full-time executive director of the Housing Trust, and he grew up in South Carolina. So he's familiar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Ms. Tricia Fidry.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Tricia Goodrich, and I live at 1016 12th Street. And this evening, my comments will address areas on the agenda. First, the proposed moratorium on licenses for short-term rentals. As I understand it, the purpose of a moratorium on issuing licenses for short-term rentals is to give the town time to put together a citizen-led advisory group to provide guidance and suggestions to council on short-term rentals. About 4 years ago, as Wendy just mentioned, a citizen group convened to do just that. After countless meetings and much compromise, this group developed an ordinance recommendation that ultimately was not adopted. But now, 4 years later, Port Royal is a very different place. Driven in large part by COVID, population growth, and development. Significant changes such as these mandate reviews of ordinances, codes, zoning, and issues of public interest. It is just good practice to do that. If council agrees to enact a moratorium to evaluate this issue, I would anticipate the length of the moratorium to be short-term. I applaud council on its willingness to consider this topic again. It is of great public interest, and again, like Wendy said, since there's an ordinance already in hand, half the work will be already half done, and it'll be great to have it looked at. The second area I wish to address is Safe Harbor's last-minute refusal to provide the easement of the necessary width to continue the Spanish Moss Trail across Revo Road. I am completely flummoxed over Safe Harbor's lack of vision. It appears to be a classic case of cutting off your nose to spite your face. The Spanish Moss Trail is great for Safe Harbor. Can Safe Harbor not imagine their clientele pulling into go world-class marinas, either in Port Royal or Beaufort, after having been at sea for weeks? Can Safe Harbor not imagine their clientele wanting to take a bike ride, a run, a walk, shop, eat, all without having to get in a car? Well, Spanish Moss Trail allows them to do that. Mariners can go from the waters of Port Royal to the beautiful city of Beaufort without an Uber or getting in a car. The Spanish Moss Trail connects northern Beaufort County. What an amazing marketing tool for Safe Harbor. Can't see their vision, their concern. Just imagine how good it could be if Safe Harbor could be true partners. And in closing, I just want to say how much I appreciate the City of Beaufort council members for standing strong and in support of Port Royal at their last council meeting. Thank you.
Next I have Gail Tremontina. Gail?
Gail Tramontano, 1516 Road in Port Royal. And I just wanted to take a minute out here to thank the council. You know, when election time comes around, everybody makes a lot of promises. Quite frankly, you wait and see what's really going to happen after the fact. I see great people. It's a well-oiled machine. I see you listening to the people from all the different districts and pulling the information together to come up with conclusions to issues. What more could we ask for? You know, I don't think you get enough kudos, and you're young in the game. We've got a couple more years to keep going. But to see Beaufort to come forward and support us and say to the port, which we have issues with, go straighten out with Port Royal, you know, before you come to us. And I mean, just that kind of communication and the support that we're getting from other towns. It's kudos to you with the communication that's been open. And we should be supporting each other. We're all in the same boat, so to speak. But in terms of transparency too, everybody you talk to, everybody has the same story. Why? Because it's out in the newspaper. Every fact that's relevant to the community and to each individual, it can easily be read by the newspaper. You don't have to get on the phone and say, so what happened? You know, because you are concerned about your environment. Lastly, about this short-term rentals. I think right now you're dealing with fear that the community is going to change. It's going to lose its ambiance and small town vibe, and it's going to become too commercial, and there are going to be a lot of transients in the area. No one wants that. We want a home here. We want our porch party atmosphere, and we want to continue. We all moved here for the same reason. It's something that most people are enviable of in this community. And I want to thank you. You know, thank you for listening to the people and listening and hearing what they're saying, not just listening, and acting on it, because that means everything, the council behind what we want as a community. So, thanks so much.
Moving over to first readings. So this is first reading, so all of these will have to go through a second reading, but up first is ordinance 2024-3, an ordinance annexing to the town of Port Royal approximately 1.15 acres of real estate located in Beaufort County, described as Beaufort County Tax District 100, map 33B, parcel 90C, located at 505 Hamrick Drive. We talked about this last week at the
Workshop.
the workshop. I believe it was given approval by the planning,
You have a recommendation.
recommendation of the planning commission. And I also, just to tell you a little fun story, because the applicant is here, but the applicant also spoke at the planning commission, and it's someone that was really involved. I don't know if you were here a couple years ago when the church, Cross Community Church, was going in over on Amory Drive. Got a little contentious, and ultimately a great solution was found. But the resident who is now asking to be annexed into town, they said that they didn't realize that they weren't in the town of Port Royal, because they're literally the other side of the property is Port Royal. They were coming to council meetings, and they said that they really loved Port Royal. They wanted to become involved in Port Royal, but they couldn't do that because they weren't a citizen of Port Royal. So what a great way then to come to Port Royal and ask to be annexed into Port Royal. So I thought that was a great story. Again, this has a recommendation from the planning commission, so I'll accept a motion from council to approve 2024-3.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Up next deals with the same parcel, it's just the zoning request for that. 2024-4, an ordinance to zone approximately 1.15 acres of real estate located in Beaufort County, described as Beaufort County Tax District 100, map 33B, parcel 90C in Beaufort County, South Carolina, to be zoned T3 suburban neighborhood. That again was given a full approval by the planning commission. It coincides with the zoning all around it, and essentially is the zoning that it was when it was in the county as well too. So I will entertain a motion to approve 2024-4.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Up next, and if you look, a lot of these are from the planning commission because they didn't have meetings for a few months, so their very first one was rapid fire, six or seven things they had to catch up, yeah.
And
So
welcome
they're
to
doing
Port
good?
Royal officially.
Exactly. Welcome to Port Royal.
Yep.
Yep.
For more reading.
Okay, yeah. 2024-5 is an ordinance to rezone approximately .17 acres of real estate described as Beaufort County Tax District 110, map 10, parcel 61, located in Beaufort County, South Carolina, to be rezoned with T3 to T4 neighborhood center. This is over on 16th Street. Again, I believe this was given a full recommendation by the planning commission. It is the property there. The zoning is to match the zoning that's actually below it, at 1214, is zoned the T4 neighborhood center. And so I'll entertain a motion to approve 2024-5.
Make a motion, we adopt 2024-5.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. 2024-5. This is first reading. Is item that was in front of the planning commission at their first meeting, 2024-6, an ordinance to add approximately .21 acres of real estate described as Beaufort County Tax District 110, map 7, parcel 694, located in Beaufort County, South Carolina, to the manufactured homes on individual lots overlay zone. Okay, do you have any questions or anything from Mr. Brother? Okay. All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to approve 2024-6.
I'll make a motion to approve 2024-6.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. 2024-6 is approved on first reading. 2024-7, an ordinance to amend Chapter 13 mobile homes and mobile home parks, apartments, and other rental dwellings in the Code of Ordinance of the Town of Port Royal. Vic, you could just explain that one
Sure.
real quick? Yeah.
Yeah, if you recall, several months ago, we had a discussion about long-term rentals and the current code, which required mandatory inspections of those units. After some discussion, as well as discussion at the retreat, council decided that we should amend the ordinance to delete the mandatory inspection of those units. It would now basically be for complaint-based or kind of random, or when necessary, inspection process.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, just to remind everybody about that, that came out, had a letter go out to a bunch of rental owners, and so we started working on that issue, took it to the retreat, and came up with this solution. I think the council's perspective on that was the last thing we were trying to do was make the job hard on landlords having long-term renters in here. Long-term rentals live in the community, they work here, they have children, they go to school here, and we were trying to keep them as unencumbered as possible. So I will entertain a motion to adopt 2024-7.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Up next, we just had some public comments on this. This is the temporary moratorium on short-term rental licenses while we work through this issue. That is ordinance 2024-8, an ordinance of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina, imposing a moratorium on the issuances of licenses and the use of property within the town for the purpose of short-term rentals. I will entertain a motion to approve 2024-8.
I make a motion that we adopt 2024-8.
Second.
Okay, and just so, any discussion, and just again, to reiterate to everybody, right now, what we're talking about here, we're not changing an ordinance, we're not taking away any short-term rentals. We want to stand up a group, as I was told earlier, 4 years ago, there was an 11-person group put together, and they got together for about a year and put together an ordinance. Again, now it's been 4 years later, we've had about a 50% rise in short-term rentals in the town. The dynamics have changed, and we've talked about it at our retreat. We think it's prudent governance for us to, when situations change, to reevaluate those situations. So we've decided to stand up a small community group to kind of look at that last ordinance. Does anything need to be changed? Is it fine? Present something to our planning commission, and then bring that before council. We do want to do that in like a temporary basis, as you said. So that's what this is tonight. Again, this isn't an ordinance. This is just a temporary moratorium while we work through this issue. So at this time, all those in favor of 2024?
I just want to make sure, I just wanted to make sure that we understand we want to do this so that we have the opportunity. We were trying to wait on the state to make their decision and to pass what they were going to pass to see if it was going to affect home rule, because if they decide they're going to be in control, it takes home rule from us. So what we're trying to do is get ahead of that curve. So we want to be prepared if something happens, or if it doesn't happen, that we are doing what we need to do as good citizens and making our community what we want it to be. So as y'all all know, 4 years ago, I did not support it. Right now, I think that what we need to do is to reevaluate it, and I think that it's important that we continue to reevaluate different things, because different things happen, and you see growth in our community, and we just want to make sure that we monitor that growth, and it's very important that we stay up and continue to be what we are as good students of you, because we get our report card from you, the citizens of Port Royal. Okay?
And, yeah, and a big issue, and we all talked about it too, is just doing this in a transparent and open way. And that's why we want to have the community group and just do it out in the open. So, any more discussion?
I echo everything that has been said, and of course it's time, therefore we're not putting the cart before the horse, because if we hastily make a decision and then the state comes in here and makes their decision, what we did is null and void. And so we're hoping that that they will allow us to govern our communities instead of the state dictating to us. So this gives us time.
So, got a first and a second. So all those in favor of approving 20-24-8 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it passes. Okay. Up next, there were some comments on this as well. This is 20-24-9, an ordinance of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina, imposing a moratorium on the issuance of certificates of compliance, building permits, design review approval, site development plan approvals, subdivision approvals, and other similar land uses or construction approvals for any multifamily developments.
Discussion.
Yeah, I want to get to the discussion. So can I get a first and a second? I'll entertain a motion to.
Can we do discussion before?
Yeah, we'll go into it. And so this is what I was thinking, and let me know where you're at, council. We've talked about the multifamily in this community. It was something that, you can see, there was an article just out there the other day in the paper about there's 1,500 units that are already approved in the town of Port Royal. Those are already have vested rights. Those are going to happen. Can't stop them. Hundreds of them going up above off Savannah Highway and Harrison Gateway, Grover Hill, but then a lot are coming down here on the peninsula too. So we also talked in our retreat. We heard from the police, fire department, and they were talking about how they're starting to get strained by the services. So we thought in an idea, and again, being prudent governance, pump the brakes. We've already got 1,500 units coming down the pipe. Let's assess where we are after a little while, pump the brakes on nothing new, let that work its way through the system, see where we are as far as infrastructure, see where we are as far as services, because we do got to provide police and fire for all of those people, where we are in our school systems at that point, and then reevaluate that. We also, at the same time, are going through our code edits, and we don't know what that's going to come back and look like, and that's going to be quite a long process. Multifamily will be touched on in that, so I don't know what they're going to look at. I would suggest to this council, because I agree with you, we do not want to do anything to hinder affordable housing. I will tell you this, out of that 1,500 units that are coming, 500 of those are the Grover Hill development, and those are to be market rate. I don't know what that means, but they said that's the development market rate. So, and just also too, when it comes to Port Royal, something to keep in mind about Port Royal with affordable housing. Port Royal does a lot. We are the most, if you take population size and if you take square mileage and just go do the basic math, we're the densest municipality in Beaufort. Just by pure numbers. If you look at the size of us by square miles and the number of population. Right here on Rebo Road, we've got 5 or 6 apartment complexes that are either subsidized or they're housing vouchers right there on Rebo. Right in front of the downtown area. So while we do, affordable housing is a serious issue, is important. Port Royal, we support the Housing Trust, and we want to do everything we can, but I think it is a regional issue, and we want to be a regional player in it. So what I would propose tonight is, since this is only first reading, we pass this on first reading, and then when it comes back to us on second reading, we look into having an amendment for affordable housing in that too. But just pass it right now on first reading, because it does have to go through 2 readings, and so we'll just get it done tonight, and then when it comes back, try to get something in there for that. How does that sound to council?
Well
You're
said.
singing my thing.
Well
We
said.
always say first reading and then we discuss. So
Yeah.
I'm 100% with it.
Okay. All right, well, with that in mind, I
I
will.
think, that's all I'm saying.
No, I was just saying, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that still gives us time
No,
also to
and that's
look at
all.
some of the other things that's being done across the state,
That's
and
all.
do it smart.
That is the
So-
one thing, if you talk to.
So if I'm in order, I'll enter a motion to approve for first reading 2024-9.
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you, council. Up next, we've got resolutions. I know, I thought so. Then we do.
vote on it, so I suggested the first one.
We did that one last week, right?
But we didn't vote.
You didn't vote, so we just want to.
Oh, okay.
Cover
So
bases.
right now, do I need to read it again, or we just?
No,
vote?
no, you don't have to read that.
Okay, so just vote on it?
Yes.
Okay, so just for everyone that wasn't here, we're doing a resolution recognizing the hard work of Samuel Collis Kennerly. He is a Boy Scout working on getting his Eagle Scout. He just did a really cool project up right by the police station where he did a U.S. flag retirement box. You can see a video online on our Facebook page that we did. We all went up there and retired some flags up there. So if you have a United States flag and you want to retire it respectfully and correctly, there's a box right by the police station. And so we had Mr. Kennerly and his family here, last week, but I guess we didn't vote on the resolution. We just signed it and gave it to them.
Yeah.
So we'll make it official.
And they've collected 200 votes.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Between the Beaufort City and Teleport roll boxes. so.
Okay. Okay. Anything else on the resolution?
Nope.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 6-2024.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, up next is a fair housing resolution. We just talked about this last week, we didn't.
Yeah, we just discussed it. I don't believe you necessarily need to read it into the record. As I mentioned last week, because as recipients of community development block grant funds, there are a couple of resolutions we have to address on an annual basis, and this is one of them.
I'll just read this, the last part. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina does hereby designate April 2024 to be Fair Housing Month and recognizes the policy supporting fair housing by encouraging all citizens to endorse fair housing opportunities for all, not only during Fair Housing Month, but throughout the year. I'll entertain a motion for 7-2024.
Motion to approve Resolution 7-2024, Fair Housing Resolution.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Up next is a resolution regarding non-discrimination on the basis of disability as established by Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act as amended as the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA of 1990.
Obviously, it is also a resolution y'all are required to pass on an annual basis as CDBG recipients of funds.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we adopt Resolution 8-2024.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That has one more. Okay, Resolution 9-2024, a resolution of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina, Town Council approving the expenditure of ARP, American Rescue Plan Act funds for the fiscal year of 2023-24.
So moved.
Second?
That we approve 9-2024.
Second?
As recipients of ARPA funds, we are also required to specify how those dollars are being spent and formalize that through the passage of a resolution.
Okay. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We will take the money from the government, from the federal government.
We'll take that dollar.
Okay. All right, up next, important dates, and we got a lot. It's that time of year, I'm gonna run through them. Hopefully you got your agenda in front of you too. And again, I just want to reiterate to people in the town that work on nonprofits, work with organizations, if, we have that important dates, we have our newsletter, reach out to us. We put stuff in all the time. People, well, my event didn't get put in, we just didn't know about it. We can't read everything and be everywhere at all the time. You guys are our eyes and ears, so if there's something coming up that you'd like to see promoted, please bring up to us, and we can do that, so.
Who tracks the number of people that signs up for the newsletter? You do? Have you noticed an increase?
Yeah, not a great increase, but it's slowly growing.
Because, a week doesn't pass where I don't get people who say, hey, how do we hear about these things that's going on? Port Royal's doing so much, and of course, I'm sending them to portroyal.org
Yep.
and subscribing,
Yeah,
and liking it, so.
yeah, they can sign up for the newsletter through the website as well.
Right, okay, good, because a lot of people, they're talking about all the events that we're having in Port Royal, and they wanting to know, how do we hear about them, how do we get to know about them? So portroyal.org. Right.
That's it. Like I said, we got a weekly newsletter, does great. SK Designs puts it out every Monday, so. And then also too, just our Facebook and social media, and I know not everybody's got that, but, something we always want to be transparent and communicate, so we're always looking at how we can be better. So these important dates, I'm going to go through them all. Saturday, April 13th, 2024, the Radiance Run at 9 a.m. That's a 5K, starts off at Live Oaks Park, I believe, yes? Monday, April 15th at 5:30, the Zoning Board of Appeals will meet in council chambers. Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 4:30 is the Redevelopment Commission meeting. They will either meet in here or in the side conference room. It just depends on the size of the audience. Saturday, April 20th is the Soft Shell Crab Festival from 11 to 5 being put on by the OVA. Always a great time. It's festival season. Pray for great weather. I'm sure it will be. And we will have fun at the Soft Shell Craft Festival. On that note, thank you to everybody that came out to the Food Truck Festival. I thought the J.C.'s did a great job, and I mean, I thought it went off really well. I didn't hear of any issues, so thank you to everyone that came out and participated. Monday, April 22nd at 5:30, the accommodation tax meeting. Today was actually the deadline to get in accommodation tax requests. This is really cool. Friday, April 26th, Port Royal Annual Business Breakfast at 7 a.m. This is something that you've been really involved in, your time on council.
And also,
Yeah.
April 26th, in conjunction with that, Councilman Owens' birthday.
Okay, Councilman Owens' birthday.
Come on, I got something to do.
Friday, April 26th, Councilman Owens' birthday. But the Port Royal Annual Business Breakfast, it's a good time. Local business owners, it's 7 a.m. We do it here in council chambers, correct?
That's correct.
Yep. So I will bring up, just let me double check. Well, hold on. The next Saturday, April 27th, Zenden's Spring Fling, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That'll just basically be all downtown. Sunday, April 28th, 2024, Birthday for the Birds up at the Cypress Wetlands. It's always a lot of fun.
And they have cupcakes.
Right, cupcakes, that's what Scott said.
What, I'm trying to think, what night is Historic Port Royal Foundation has? Isn't the birthday coming up for business meeting? I thought it was the 26th.
Run is in,
That's not till June, so. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but I can tell you the Historic Port Royal Foundation has a talk coming up at St. Mark's. I believe it's the
25th?
25th. Okay, I knew I was,
Thank you.
we said on Thursday. Okay, exactly. So I knew we were missing one in there. So right before the annual business breakfast, we have the talk with the Historic Port Royal Foundation at St. Mark's. So, like I said, that's a busy month. Not bad. That's what we love about Port Royal, being outside, being with each other, and being with the community. So, any other dates anybody wants to add in there?
Just a shout out to our successful farmers market every Saturday morning at the Naval Heritage Park. Folks from all over Beaufort County and Jasper comes to it, so.
I think last Saturday was a record. I went out there and it was packed up all the way till 12 o'clock. It was packed out. So, what date is our first street music?
May 4th.
May 4th. So that will be coming up soon too. Street music on Paris. So get ready for that. Any other dates added? Nope. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, that's a good dozen for the month of April. So, okay, at this time, move over to public comment. This is now, Mayor will recognize members of the audience who have submitted speaker forms to address council on non-agenda items. I did not get any on those, but if there's anyone that, wants to say anything really quick. All right. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes.
Mr. Phil Ailing. Please state your name and your address.
I'm Phil Allen. I live at 708 13th Street. I'd like to correct the record. There were 14 people on that short-term. And roughly half divided by people who had an interest in short-term rentals and half that did not. We came up with what I thought was a very reasonable proposal. I was very disappointed that this council saw fit, not even past first reading.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your
We could do
time on
better
that.
this time.
Yeah, thank you for your time on that last task force. Okay, no more public comment. Any council comments?
I do have,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
you may have noticed that Councilman Ashmore's not here. He's celebrating his daughter's ring ceremony tonight, so we wish him a hearty congratulations for that, and exciting things to come for that family. So we invite you to congratulate him when you see him. He's really excited about it.
He'll probably watch the meeting. Let's do a round of applause for Mary Ashmore's daughter getting their rings. I hope you see this, Jerry.
Only one more year of tuition.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Any other comments from council? No? Okay. Nothing in particular. I just, like I said, thanks for everybody that came out over the weekend to the food truck festival, festivals that are coming up. No matter how bad my day's going or what's going on in the world, I get up, I walk around Port Royal, and it puts a smile on my face. I go to the Cypress Wetlands, I go to the sands, see the community, and when we all get together, it really does make me feel so blessed to be here and be a part of this community. So thank you all for everything you do. You have a comment? Yeah. Okay.
And you were speaking about that. I'm Colleen Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
Happy anniversary.
Oh,
yes. Happy anniversary.
53 years. We were high school sweethearts from ninth grade on, so.
Wow.
Long time. I deserve a medal. Anyway, I just wanted to say, as our dear mayor has said, I also am walking around a lot in Port Royal, and I'm not shy about talking to people, and I meet people out on the Cypress Trail, on the boardwalk, wherever. And I always say, where are you from? And they'll go, I'm from Bluffton, but we love it over here. Or I'm from St. Helena or wherever. They all say, we just love walking over here. This is such a cool place. So thank you guys for keeping it that way. And I'm just really proud of being a member of Port Royal. And it excites me like this. How many places have a room full of people at council meetings month after month? You don't see that. I'm from 45 years of state service. You don't see that anywhere else. So thank you all.
No, thank you very much. Okay, at this time, entertain a motion for executive session to let everybody know, as you paid attention to the paper again, I'm not going to speak on any kind of pending litigation. All the information you need is out there and filed in public documents. We do have some deadlines coming up for what's going on with Safe Harbor. And so we're getting an update from our legal team to kind of just get an update of where we are in the process and deadlines coming up. So that's it. I do not expect any action to be taken after this. However, if you want to hang out, feel free. But at this time, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move to discuss possible actions on items discussed in executive session to update on pending litigation with Safe Harbor.
Second.
All those in favor of going into executive session signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Okay, welcome back. This is the Town of Port Royal. We've just got back from our executive session. No action was taken. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, good night, Port Royal.